All right, guys, what's up, Zach? I'm super excited for today's video. This is going to be taking a look at BITNILE, okay, ticker symbol NILE. This one was a viewer request. So if you have any requests, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. I do those every single week. So, I'll be happy to do that for you as soon as I can. This one's going to be a little bit different, okay? So if you are looking for the technical analysis, go ahead and skip towards the later half of the video. I'm going to go ahead and dive into some of the holdings and a little bit into what BitNile really is and what they have going on, okay, because this is a bear market. There's no secret in that. But, buying in a recession and buying in a bear market, is really what will give you some long-term wealth, but it's up to you to make proper good investments. Okay, and buying individual stocks can be very risky, so it's good for you to do some of your own research. And I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of research. Okay, I don't own any shares of Nile. I'm not trying to pump it or tell you guys to buy it. We're just going to dive into it so you know a little bit more, because they have their hands in a lot of stuff, right? It's a holdings company, all right, essentially. And essentially right now they're most hyped up for the Bitcoin part of it, right? Okay, if you can see, they have attributed ownership. All right, they own 100% of the Bitcoin miners, part of their company. All right, they currently operate 1,705 miners, generating approximately all the details are right here. Okay, so that's mostly what they're hyped up for. Earnity is really nice. Okay, so that's something else. That's actually a DeFi marketplace, which I've made a few videos on DeFi, but it's really tough to pick a good DeFi project. All right, if you look around, many of them have similarities to some Ponzi schemes, and sometimes it's really easy for retail traders to get tricked in and out of. And we saw with Three Arrows Capital, even some of the institutional hedge funds that deal with cryptocurrency, they over leveraged and they over collateralized, and and they got wiped out basically. All right, so it is risky, but they are involved in it, right? They own 20% of Earnity. All right, so that's a DeFi marketplace that allows suppliers and borrowers of digital assets. I mean, you guys should know what a DeFi marketplace is, okay? You can buy and sell, basically things like that on there. All right, a lot of loaning going on in the DeFi marketplaces. Okay, then they have Alliance Cloud Services. Okay, they own 70% of that. All right, and that's basically like a data center cloud hosting solutions, and it's really just more of the software behind the Bitcoin mining versus the actual hardware, the miners, right? So they own 100% of the miners, 70% of the cloud, kind of like the network, right, the software. And then they have another company that they own 81% of. Okay, and this is Imperialist Holding. All right, and if you look, it says it engages in the development, marketing, and sale of personal care and cosmetic products through its subsidiary, Canicure Sciences, offering lotions and oils to the consumer markets, advanced nano and PCR tinctures, and retail products such as skincare, hair care, and wellness solutions, right? So if you look, this is a company that's kind of investing in the future, right? Because, there's a general kind of like belief or conception, that marijuana, right, would be legalized federally, right, here in the next 5 to 10 years, possibly. Okay, maybe even sooner. And that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency will be globally adopted here, possibly within the next 5 to 10 years as well, right? So that's two areas that they have their hands in, and that's really what they're investing in, right? So you can dive deeper and look at their financial statements and some other things like that, and really break it down. But if it's something that if these are something that you would look at investing, I would do so. Okay, now Imperialist Holding really had caught my attention, okay, because I knew a little bit about this other stuff, but I really didn't know anything about that, and they own 81% of it. So I looked into it a little bit more. Okay, and we can go over to here. All right, and we can take a look at Imperialist Holding. All right, and so we went over the Canicure Sciences, right? But Imperialist is also involved in the cryptocurrency mining company and another company called Dollar Shots Club. All right, so we know about the weed. right? The cannabis, all right? We know about the cryptocurrency. We know about the mining and the software, the hardware and the software they have. They also have Dollar Shots Club, okay, which, Dollar Shots Club is a company that offers energy drinks, offer naturally flavored, non-carbonated supplemental shots, enabling customers to relish on tasty energy drinks. So, that's another area that they just have their feet in, right? And that's kind of what they do, right? They essentially just look to invest in other things, all right, and put their money where their mouth is and try to do that. So you can come on here and take a look at all of their old holdings, and all of the things that they are invested in. Turn on Green is another one. This is EV, okay. They entered the EV market by developing a completely new line of of commercial EV charging stations. Okay, this is Turn on Green Inc. Right, and we can look here, all right. And it'll dive into it a little bit more. There's a nice article here by Yahoo Finance. All right. But BitNile is going to distribute approximately 140 million shares and an equal number of warrants to purchase shares of Turn on Green to BitNile holding stockholders. Right. So, if you're holding Nile, all right, they plan on issuing shares and an equal number of warrants to purchase shares, okay, for their company Turn on Green. Now they're trying to get it into the NASDAQ, okay, properly following the closing of the acquisition. Imperiouslis will dissolve its 3 dormant subsidiaries. BitNile will assist Turn on Green in pursuing an uplisting to the NASDAQ capital market, subject to NASDAQ seasoning rules and other criteria for listing, right? So if you're owning Nile, you should know in the future that there's a potential you might be getting a slice of this EV company, right? Turn on Green. So let's go over this again now, right? So BitNile is investing in cryptocurrency. They're investing in cannabis. They have their, kind of like nutritious supplement type deal, right? With the Dollar Shots Inc. Okay. And then they also are in the EV market. So they're really just diversifying themselves, which is a little bit safer, right? But it's only safe if they're diversifying themselves into successful business models and successful companies, right? So you have to really look into the numbers a lot more and try to see. But I just wanted to start the video off with that, okay? Because this is a great time in a bear market to really be, researching and focusing on the stocks that you really truly want to own and that you think have great potential over the next 5 to 10 years, okay? Because, if you can spot those companies now, you're going to be very thankful 5 to 10 years from now when we have the next bull market cycle, okay? So we'll jump right into the chart now. We're going to start off with the weekly chart. I love to use the volume profile. As we can see, this is our high volume activity area, okay? Everything over here, all of this stuff up here is like not even relevant. The volume is so low on it, all right? So now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead and look at some weekly chart bullish divergence, okay? Bullish divergence is an indicator that we may see some bullish activity in the future. And the reason being is because the price of a stock or security, cryptocurrency, whatever it is dropping, but the relative strength is actually increasing. That's known as bullish divergence. I'll highlight it right here with these 3 ovals, okay? As you can see, we have a low, we have a lower low, okay? We're heading lower, making lower low, and then even lower low over here, all right? However, on the relative strength index, we have our lowest low right here at our highest low. And then we're creating another higher low here, higher low here, higher low here. And if you notice this very long-term trend line of, bullish divergence on the relative strength index, this is basically our support, okay? So if you're looking on a macro scale, these are good areas to try to get in on, okay? Because the price is really low, but the relative strength is high for a reason and increasing for a reason. If you notice, we have very nice pops, okay, once we hit this divergence trend line. All right, so that's starting off on the weekly chart, okay? And if you look here again, these are our highest volume nodes. I'm going to go ahead and draw a nice little rectangle here just so you guys can understand the price levels and really understand that these are price levels where there was tons and tons of volume in the very beginning. Okay, people were loading up when the price was down here. Okay, you can see initially it was up here, we came down lower. That's when we saw this massive volume spike. Okay, it never retested those levels until here recently, in this bear market. Okay, so we're seeing it, and we can see that it had highs of $10.94, and it recently hit lows of 22 cents. So dramatically being affected in this market. Lots of risks involved. This thing may potentially go to zero. Okay, but as I said, if you want to look into it, there is a lot of potential to the upside, right? If their EV company is very successful, if the cannabis companies are very successful, the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, if Bitcoin ends up recovering, going to 100K, 250K, like all these people were predicting and saying it was going to go to, BitNile could potentially be worth a lot of money. Okay, so again, not financial advice, not trying to pump you guys and tell you to get it, just showing you some macro technical analysis. So that's the weekly chart. Okay, let's go ahead and break it down to the daily chart now. Okay, and if we look at our daily chart, we have the same thing again. Okay, bullish divergence, my friends. All right, so here we go. Right, and we're going to use the ovals again: low, lower low, lower low. Okay, low, higher low, higher low. This is our trend line that we're bouncing on or respecting. When we created our 52-week lows here of 22 cents, we broke that bullish divergence trend line, but quickly recovered, okay, and found support along it again. So if you're looking to day trade or swing trade, NILE, this is a good area to look at on the daily chart, okay, is have this nice divergence trend line here. It's because this is an area where we're starting to bounce off of the relative strength. Okay, so even though the price may come down, there's CPI, PPI, Fed meetings, Russia, Ukraine crisis, so much stuff going on. Anything will, can cause a drop and a sell in these markets. So you do have to be prepared for that. But if you're looking for, some swing trade or day trade setups, this is an area that I would look for, right? Wait for it to see if we come back down, and we're going to retest these levels. If we come down here and find support and bounce, it could be a nice lucrative swing trade. Okay, so keep that in mind, that we have weekly chart bullish divergence, and we also have daily chart bullish divergence. We can go down to the 1 hour chart now. All right, and we'll take a look at some 1 hour price levels. And again, just look at this bullish divergence. Okay. All right, so we have a low here, lower low here. Okay, low, higher low, relative strength. Okay, so the relative strength keeps increasing on multiple time frames as it drops lower. All right, that's a very easy sign to spot, and it's something that really can up your game when it comes to being like a day trader or a swing trader, right? If you're coming in here on this day and you're saying, man, it's a bloodbath, things are, look how much it dropped, right? A lot of times you see these overreactions, you see a slight recovery to get rejected and pushed back lower, but the relative strength is actually increasing. Okay, that's something that you can look for. Right, when things get so dramatically oversold, the RSI is gonna, is gonna get crushed, right? And then shortly after, it dips back down again, but the relative strength is much higher because it's not as oversold anymore. All right, and these are areas where you can come in and look to get in on a trade. Right, if we break it down a little bit more, okay, we can look and we can see low. Here's our low. Let's say we have this as our support line, okay, because we know this is our support on our fibs, and we can see we actually came down and wicked down perfectly off of that support. All right, and this is our bullish divergence right here when we first got our first bounce, our low, and then higher low right here. And look at those highs. Okay, went up 9% in 2 hours. All right, that's a nice day trade. Okay, 9% is 2 hours. A lot of people can't do that, but one of the ways that professionals, institutional traders, and really successful retail traders is, they find something that works for them. Bullish divergence is something that you can start to spot as a beginner and really start to just have a little tool under your belt. Okay, it's not a guaranteed thing that every time there's bullish divergence, you should just buy immediately and then you'll be able to make profit. If it was that easy, everyone would do it and everybody would be billionaires, but unfortunately we're not. So it does increase your odds. Let's say, okay, well, I know we have support here. I know that the relative strength has been increasing even though the price is actually lower. If we find support at my support line and we bounce on the RSI, then you have two forms of support. You have two kind of like indicators you know, to look for, right? To kind of give you a sign that, all right, maybe this thing is a buy, right? Then the most important things, of course, would be price action and volume. And you can, look at the candlesticks, you can see the volume, see what's really going on. Because at the end of the day, that's what really paints the picture. And it's up to you to use, what indicators you like, Fibonacci's, Person's pivots, relative strength index, stochastics, MACD, CCI, DMI, all these different things. There's so many tools at your disposal. And if there's any tools that you haven't seen me cover, maybe some things like stochastics, MACD, if you want to see me start using those in some of my videos, let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to make a tutorial and start throwing those in on my analysis. Okay.